The problem is students do not differentiate between answer writing the way they prepare for the mains.
बच्चों को पता भी है और वो पूछते भी है कि सर क्या पढ़ना चाहिए.
I've not heard students talk about one book source or one website where they can go and learn essays.
Observation skills, summarization skills, these are extremely important.
What is the author talking about and what his stand is?
Not just important for your qualification, it is hugely important for your rank.
Hi all of you, me and Deb here for your essays, discussions, essays courses. So welcome to our quick short video on this.
Let's talk a little bit about why we have assembled and what is it that the students are going to get.
So we are here to discuss, Deb, the nuances of essay writing, the importance of essays, how can we score good marks, what are the problems students face. And the idea is we want to get students ready, not just in terms of the theories of writing, but also demonstrating how exactly good essays can be written.
One of the things that we've always discussed that essays are very, very important for UPSC. And there is a specific purpose that the UPSC essays have. Students often confuse this fact. Can you speak a little bit on this?
The problem is students do not differentiate between answer writing the way they prepare for the mains subjects of GS and essays. Essays are not exactly extensions of answer writing. Of course, some nuances of answer writing can always be used, but essays require a very different skill. In fact, students must realize it's a separate paper altogether. 250 marks, writing 2 essays. The essays have a very different type of topics that students must write on. Curriculum is not defined. The books are not mentioned. I've not heard students talk about one book source or one website where they can go and learn essays. So that's where I think students mess up. So we are here to essentially discuss all these aspects.
Yeah, so it's very fluid. इसका कोई bounding box नहीं है, कोई syllabus vague है. We don't know where to start. Students often ask कि sir कौन सा book पढ़ना है, and we don't have a clear answer. One thing this leads to is like students often scoring less. Okay, and they'll be very good in general studies. They would have done their ethics, know their philosophy, but still. Essays, they tend to score 100, 110, sometimes even less, right? And so how do they get from 100 to 140 plus? That is really going to take them from sort of being mediocre to actually scoring high and qualifying.
We analyzed over 130 toppers from last year. And the person who had scored the maximum marks scored 148. And the person with the lowest marks scored 64. That's a difference of roughly 80 marks. Imagine the impact this 80 marks can create in a fiercely competitive exam like UPSC. Not just important for your qualification, it is hugely important for your rank. So think of it. Can you take the essay paper lightly? Every mark can make or break your dream. So pay full attention to your essay paper.
I know of few examples. In fact, one of the toppers last year, she got into IPS finally, I think third attempt. And the only reason she missed out IAS was because she had scored very less in essays paper. A lot of students who otherwise can get into the top 40, 50, 60 ranks, they miss out because the essay scores are less. I personally feel any score which is below 125 can compromise the overall rank. The UPSC has been a bit more fluid in terms of how they score the essays. But last 4-5 years, a good score in essay is 135 plus. Back in the times when I was appearing in the 90s and while teaching early 2000s, crossing 130 was tough. And those times we had only one essay to write. But since the change, 2014-15 onwards, when they changed the format of essays, now 130, 35 plus is what students should aspire for.
Therefore, they should know what is the special skill that UPSC is looking for in this exam. Very different from what they do in GS or very different from what they do in ethics. The theory is the same. But there is a specific skill that they need to develop.
Absolutely.
And, develop those skills that get you there.
Content comes in from GS, a lot of content comes in from ethics paper, current affairs, but essay is not simply dumping all of that together. It requires a different skill. You're right there. You're right.
I think right now is the time where we should talk a little bit about the problems that students face because they don't focus on building this skill. And example, they have all the material, but representing that material in a cogent way, in a cohesive way on a piece of paper is difficult. And that's the skill, one of the skills. Can you highlight some other problems that you have seen in students in your interactions?
When students come to me about essays, the depth of problem I assess from the type of questions they ask me. Like, sir, what should be the length of essays? How many words will I write? Questions like, sir, how many pages should I write? Questions like, sir, can we criticize the government in our essays or not? They're more concerned about how many quotes to write, how many data to use. So somewhere their queries are more about, okay, how can I fill up the pages? If I tell them 500 words, how can I dump the 500 words? So their target is about achieving the word limit. The target is about, writing to a certain number of pages. If I tell them maybe 10 quotes are good. So if they dump 10 quotes, they think they'll score marks. So they don't understand the nuance of essay writing at all. What is exactly UPSC looking for? Is UPSC looking for number of quotes you write? Is UPSC counting the words you write? Is UPSC conscious about the booklets that you have used? So without the students knowing the purpose, the design of the examination, the whole agenda of why essays is there, that's where the problem starts.
I think this nuance that you talked about starts with, I believe, the understanding the topic itself. And I have seen in the Telegram channel, a lot of students actually don't pay enough attention to the topic and they rush into the writing process and they start writing जो भी मन में आता है, examples, quotes, उस topic से related है, वो लिखना चालू करते हैं.
I just give an analogy here in the class. There's somebody aspiring to become a cricketer, and the questions that he's after, कौन सा कंपनी का पैड खरीदूं, सुबह बैटिंग करूं कि शाम को बैटिंग करूं, should I be practicing at home or the stadium? The doubts are on कौन सा कंपनी का टी-शर्ट पहनूं, rather than learning the actual skill of bowling or batting. Okay, so that's why when they see a question, when they see a topic, and they come across any familiar word that they're aware of, the effort is around that familiar word. Let's dump whatever we know. अगर 500 वर्ड हिट करना है, उसी वर्ड के राउंड लिख के डंप कर देते हैं. That's the problem.
A good fence makes a good neighbor.
Okay.
I think it came in 2017. And so many of the students, they just caught onto the word fence and they thought that this is about the border being, strong and the border being, there.
Border security, infiltration.
They went into border security and how do we protect the border and all of that, right? But they missed the whole point. And I think this is where reading also comes in, that a lot of students, they read the subject matter, but they don't read enough so that they can have a good perspective, develop their perspectives. तो ये कुछ बच्चों को पता भी है और वो पूछते भी है कि सर क्या पढ़ना चाहिए एसएस के लिए, right? And usually what I tell them is quality reading material padho, and then I give them, but it's very topical. So I think this is one of the things that we will cover in our course also. Give you a very good and finite reading list. You can digest it because as we discussed, the syllabus is very vague. What I've seen is एक तो है हो गया topic, but beyond the topic, developing of the argument. What are your key dimensions you're talking about? And students often mistake the keywords for dimensions, right? So they think the keywords themselves are dimensions. And जैसे ये सेम एग्जाम्पल मैं लूंगा या कुछ और एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं. Any man can stand adversity, but to test a man's character, give him power. ये ऐसे टॉपिक आया. So they listed the keywords as power, adversity, and then they went on defining power, defining
Yes.
adversity, and missed the point, right? So
The
this is
message is
something I
lost.
have noticed. Yeah,
Yeah.
argument development, I feel, is one of the points that students must focus on.
They now that we're talking about the problems of essay writing and how important it is to read a finite but not the regular topical type of readings, how important it is to understand the dimensions. You have been a writer. You have you have written books. You write blogs. If you are suggesting a student to learn essays writing, what do you think is a good time frame in which a student with some decent bit of understanding and language can actually learn to write a good essay? A practical timeline which a student should aspire for in terms of committing for essays writing.
I think, frankly, Shabbir, this should not take a lot of time, but it should need focused effort. So what I mean by that is, आप दिन में 1 घंटा भी बैठो, that is 30 minutes भी बैठो, it's good. But how you use that 30 minutes is going to be very important. So a lot of people just read, and a lot of people just start writing. That's not what we do. I think we have to sit down with the topic and make very cogent notes in terms of what is this topic. एक example मैं दूंगा. One thing that helped me personally, and I think helps writers personally, is आप एक writing पढ़ के इस पे 5 questions लिखो. So what is, or in 5 bullet points, describe what this writer is trying to convey. Your summary of this. Today you have AI tools, and a lot of people use AI tools for summarizing. Very, very dangerous, right? Because it does not improve your comprehension and your thought organization skills. So fundamentally, मुझे लगता है problem is around organizing your thoughts and getting to the core. कि ये topic actually क्या बता रहा है, core तक कैसे पहुंचेंगे. So I think it's all about summary. So I think if 30 minutes I have, I will take a good article or editorial of the day, and I would start writing कि ये, and writing in very, very few words possible. That's why I tell my students in the Telegram channel कि आप लोग argument जब लिख रहे हो, just write one sentence. Can you tell me what is your analysis and what is your synthesis of that point? मैं ये बोलता हूँ कि think in terms of a lawyer. If you are a lawyer arguing your case in the court.
I've done this, in we used to have reading sessions for important editorials. These were exercises that I recommend students. When you read an article, you do two things. One is, can you, in bullet points, 2-3 sentences, tell what is the author talking about and what his stand is? Second,
Yeah.
what do you think about that stand? So अगर 3-6 पॉइंट में कोई लड़का लिख पा रहा है, oh, this article is about 1, 2, 3, and I think 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Focused reading, and I think reading करने के बाद एक output होना चाहिए about your summary of the reading process, and how do you basically reduce that prose you read into a very coherent list of 4 or 5 things. I think if you get that, then that's a very good, strong foundation for your essay writing. These things will take a process. It's not going to be randomly developed. How do you get the topic understanding? How do you develop arguments? How do you create richness in your essay? Where do you insert your quotes and examples? What role language plays? And one thing that I am very proud about that we have done together is develop this step-by-step plan that you can start with absolutely no knowledge of reading or writing, but at the end of the 4 week period, you get to a very, very good spot and you have a very good chance of getting to that 140 plus.
So, guys, you got it all. Me and Dave have designed this course, and I think this is the course that you will ever need. A course across 4 weeks where we'll have modules. We just want to dedicate a couple of hours per week. There are video sessions, there are interactions, assignments, what to read, how to write, how to improve your marks, what is a good essay, how to structure an essay, how to make the essays rich. Okay. So Edukemy is launching this essays program for all of you. So Dave, is it safe to say that in about a month or 2 months, maybe, if they want to watch it twice, they should be fairly comfortable in handling tricky abstract essays and can look forward to scoring really good killer marks to qualify and get the marks that they need for becoming a good civil servant?
जैसे मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ कि philosophy क्या है, right? Philosophy is something that mirrors real life. एसेस के टॉपिक्स हैं यूपीएससी के, they're actually things that you see every day in your real life. I think what we lack is the observation skills कि अभी क्या हो रहा है. You know, when I step into the metro, for example, the first thing I see is tremendous inequality among the people that are in the bogie, right? And there is an essay topic hidden there. So I think observation skills, summarization skills, these are extremely important to counter these abstract philosophical topics that are being asked. And you are already reading it in ethics. I think we will figure out how to be observant, to summarize better, so we can write better. तो 4 week में absolutely हो सकता है. But what is more important is you don't leave essay writing after 4 weeks. Okay, this is what I'm going to read, this is what I'm going to summarize, and continue the effort. So just like आप gym में जाते हो, right? You have a structured program for 1 month. Okay, you do that, but you're supposed to eat well and exercise on an ongoing basis even after the course is over. So नहीं तो आपका gym instructor बता के चला जाएगा and you forget what to do and you come back to your old self again. So this is exactly like that. We don't believe that it has to be a long-term course. It is self-paced, but with enough live interactions. 4 week हम लोग spend करेंगे. First week we'll do basic foundations, understanding the nuances of essay writing in UPSC. That is our first week, right? Second week we are getting into the structure of essay writing. We are discussing intros, how do you develop the body, what are the skills required, जो हमने अभी बताया, topic treatment कैसा करते हैं, paraphrasing कैसे करते हैं, argument development कैसे करते हैं. This is all we'll study in week 2. Week 3, Shabbir, is your favorite week. I know we talk about directed brainstorming. Why don't you speak a little bit about that?
Brainstorming is a technique where essentially you're trying to think through, recall, try to bring in whatever you have read, jot down whatever is linked to the concepts you're trying to write on. So brainstorming is essentially a free-flowing method of jotting down, okay, and thinking creatively about a particular topic. It requires a lot of divergent thinking. It must have topics across different themes. But what happens is in the examination conditions, when you have only as many hours, you must write, you must think, you must structure. So you can't afford to think like you do when you have enough time. When you have all the time, you can rewrite the essays, you can correct and recorrect. So you can be more comfortable in terms of not limiting the process. But in the exam conditions, you have constraint of half an hour, you constraint of 1 hour. So if your brainstorming goes completely open, then you risk losing the topic. There has to be some technique where you can force yourself into not losing the topic, yet thinking deep into it. Force yourself into not missing the theme, yet bring out diverse dimensions. Force yourself into thinking quick and fast, okay, but ensuring essay rich bhi hai or essay mein depth bhi hai. So that type of thinking is what I call as brainstorming with some guide rails, brainstorming with certain rules in place. I call that as directed brainstorming. So I think that's a unique thing you should all be looking forward to. It help you develop the essays. So yeah, Dev, among all the things, that's one thing we'll be teaching the students.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited to be part of that process too, because we'll do directed brainstorming on topic treatment, argument development, examples, abstract philosophies, all of that. Then we'll also study key themes of philosophy, right? So we have a finite list of things that we should cover, and uh, from Vedantic philosophy to existentialism or absurdism, whatever is relevant for UPSC will actually provide that, and we'll discuss that to some extent.
When the topics are philosophical, life, living, about happiness, about courage, sacrifice, responsibility, ethics. जब topics philosophical है, you cannot afford to not write from the philosophical dimensions, for which you must know at least 7, 8 important philosophies. Stoicism, you mentioned existentialism, absurdism. You should know Vedantic philosophy or Buddhism, कि क्या philosophies हैं. Okay, so I think this is one thing students miss out because they're not comfortable reading this or may not exposed. So they mechanically by heart some definitions. What is ethics? एक पैराग्राफ में रट्टा मार लिया. What is honesty? एक पैराग्राफ में लिख लिया. But the discourse required for philosophy is वो missing होता है. So in our essays, like Deb said, this is going to be part of the essays course. We will have sessions on discussing the philosophies and mapping those with the topics asked.
One classic example is a ship in the harbor is safe, but that is not what the ship is for. Now,
Yes.
you know about that this is about purpose of life, but the moment you use the word existentialism in your essay, I think you get 5 additional marks because you are mapping a philosophy. Yeah, it's a link, mapping the theory to the practice. And this is what essay writing is all about, mapping philosophical theories into real world practice. And this is what we'll help you do. And the last week, we focused a lot on actual exam time simulation, right? So we'll give you an exam time simulation, and in exam-like conditions, you will answer, and then we'll evaluate and tell you where you are. So I think important part of this is you must participate. A lot of students I see that they come in, join the course, and they see the videos, they look at the assignments, but they actually don't do it. So I think, like they say, dipping your toes in the water or jumping in the pool, आपको ये करना पड़ेगा because till the time you are reading model essays from somewhere, remember that this model essay has been written by somebody else. तो ये आपने नहीं लिखा है. Till the time you write it, it's very difficult for you to score good marks because so you have to write, you have to participate actively. And I think then this would be a worthwhile course. And Shabbir, I must say that I'm very, very excited being a writer myself. I feel so good when I see or I read something that is well written. I really get excited because that is a fruit of the whole thing for me, right? So this is going to be a very, very interesting experience. And if we can teach you to be very outcome based and get you to from the 100, 110 to 140.
Just recalling what you said, Dev, let us make our course, and that's intention, more outcome based, impact based rather than theory based. And what we mean by that is, we will not talk about theories like write good essay, write impactful essay, write brief, write concise. Okay, make sure the essay is profound. Okay, so these are general words. Somebody must show you how to write what is an impactful essay, or what does an impactful essay look like. How to write an essay, okay, that is thinking, that's able to engage a reader, rather than simply saying write an engaging essay. Okay, so yes, I'm happy about that too. And if I must add to what they've said about engagement, practice, a common mistake students make is they leave essay for the last minute study. Most of you leave essays for the few days before the mains, or you do some random writing, 1 or 2, 4 of them, and you expect to qualify. आप सोच के देखो, think of any GS paper. Any GS paper is worth 250 marks. Take up, say, paper 1, where you're studying geography, you're studying history, art and culture, you study society. And the classes that you put in is approximately around 100 to 120 classes. Each class 2.5 3 hours. एक पेपर के लिए आप जहां 300 350 घंटे देते हैं, आप ऐसे पेपर के लिए जो वर्थ उतना ही मार्क्स है, 350 250 मार्क्स का ऐसे है, you hardly give 10 days, okay, of very disinterested efforts. You hardly write 2 3 4 essays, and essay is very scoring. Okay, essays are, I mean, in a GS paper, okay, 100 mark rakha to it's considered a good mark. 100 out of 250. essay में आप 140 रख सकते हो. essay में, और essays में आपको 100 दिन नहीं चाहिए. essay में आपको ढंग से डालना पड़ेगा. Maybe 30 days, maybe 20 days, 45 days maybe. So the ROI is very high. Returns are very high. But for whatever reasons, we keep postponing it. We keep ignoring it. We join a disinterested course. We don't complete the course. So it's a very strong reason why we are starting now. ताकि आपके पास writing के skill और practice के enough time बचे. So they were just emphasizing that point. Start early, be with us, keep practicing. Okay, there's a nuance to essays writing you should not ignore. And we promise you, this essays course will be one of the courses you will go back with, a sense of confidence, and that should give you good marks to qualify eventually.
I think for those of you who still want more information, I would strongly recommend that you join our Telegram channel, because we do a lot of these exercises. We work on aspects of your foundation. So you'll get a taste of what is to come in this course. And definitely visit the course page, read all about it. Ask Shabbir and me if you have questions. You can message us on Telegram. And I'm looking forward for you to join us and have a fun-filled and good learning for 4 weeks. And beyond which, I think you should be all set for the 140 plus target.
Welcome to essays program Edukemy, a self-paced program with video lectures, assignments, tests, discussions, and engagements. With Dev and myself, Shabbir. Okay, we hope you get the best out of this program. All the best. Good luck.